Today I'm driving a Polo GTI, and not just any Polo GTI. This one has 330 brake horsepower. So you may have seen in the Hyundai i30N video, we had nice little lapel mics, we have nice crisp audio. These are our second time of using this company, and they've broken both times. We can't go outside and talk about the car, so we're going to have to overlay some clips. So there's a few really nice little features that add to the way this car drives. So we have the Japanese racing wheels, which look amazing, and these wheels suit any car you put them on, and it really suits and offsets from the white with the black wheels. And I'm not usually a black wheel fan.
No, they do look good though.
They look very, very good. We have also got the H&R lowering springs. Now they are on the stock damper, so they're quite a bit stiffer than the standard springs, so it does crash a bit if you're on a particularly bumpy road. On a nice smooth B road, you're laughing, and it handles really, really nicely. Yeah, apart from that, really, there's not too much else. We've got the odd little bit of styling on the outside on the bumpers. We have got, of course, the obvious DSG paddles, which are, you have to have in a DSG car to make people know you have a DSG. They do actually help when you go around a corner. If your hands do move on the steering wheel, you have something to grab onto. You don't have to come back to the tiny little paddles that they have on the back of the steering wheel. So the engine, there's not actually too much to see. It has got an induction kit, a very nice induction kit, which does make a lot of turbo noise, which is always a benefit when driving a car like this. It has got the IS20 turbo, which is from a Golf GTI. I cannot believe how responsive that turbo is. Obviously you get the power gains with the turbo, but you also get amazing throttle response. So I was very, very impressed with that. No, there's not too much to see under these engine bays of new cars. There's a lot of plastics and stuff like that. There's not like a whacking great turbo sticking on the top of the engine or something like that. This car absolutely shifts, and you look at it and it's just a small Polo, and you can't believe how fast this thing is. It's like a rocket ship, honestly. So these engines can go to sort of 450 brake horsepower, so running 330, that's a nice safe power for these. It's just the gearboxes that can be a slight weak point on them, but as long as you're not too aggressive with them and you're gentle, then you can make them last. Like a turbo car, you don't have a massive lag low down, which is a stereotype of turbo cars. This has super low down torque, so it has power all the way through the rev range, which is quite unique for a turbo car. Now that brings me on to probably one of the downsides of this car. It doesn't have limited slip differential. At the minute you're coming out of a corner and you apply some throttle, as the boost kicks in, the car, you can feel the front end washing out, and it doesn't want to stay planted at the front end. You feel it washing out and you have to come back out the throttle, and it regains the front grip. So that is just something that I think needs to be added to make this car just go up another level for me. But without an LSD, it's not bad. You just have to drive it differently from how you would with a car with a limited slip differential. So much power, if you're on and off the power in the corner, it doesn't matter too much, because you've got so much straight line speed that you can just fly out of a corner, drop a gear and absolutely fly. Similar story with what Golf TCR. This has got a slightly less feel than the TCR. It doesn't have, I can't feel every single bit of the road. There's not a lot of fine detail. Whereas if you compare it to cars like GR Yaris, which seems to be the benchmark really, it doesn't have that sort of fine detail where you can feel what the chassis is doing at every single moment. You do sort of turn it in, it feels a little bit numb, and then you just apply your power and you're out of it. There isn't that, you can't different price points. So it's one of them where you can't compare things that are double the price, because it's not fair on this car. But in terms of power, this is just the way it gains its speed is so exciting to drive. It sounds amazing as well. System, which is the thing you notice the most about this car. It's got a full 3-inch system from the downpipe straight to the back box, and this thing is loud. You probably would benefit from some coilovers just to make it that little bit. You can fine tune some adjustable coilovers. You definitely benefit massively from that in the corners, because you do sort of pin it into a corner and you're like 90% sure of what it's going to do. You don't know if it is going to move about a bit. I've not had any moments with the rear on this car. It seems really planted. Could be down to tyres. There are decent tyres on it, so it's one of them. But it is very, very predictable to drive, as you'd sort of imagine from a VAG car. They're not known for being particularly leery. But no, it handles the power really well. What sort of power did this car come out of the factory? About 200?
190.
Okay, yeah, so it's almost double the power, and the chassis handles it. There's absolutely no issues with the chassis handling this power. In the dry, fantastic traction when you're driving. Golf TCR, I was a bit disappointed. I think it didn't have that humongous sensation of speed where I would enjoy a manual, because there's something else engaging to do. But with this, because of just how quick it is and how it gains its power, it needs to have a DSG, because it needs to be even faster for the DSG. So no, I really like the DSG in this car. I think it suits it better, which I wouldn't normally say. If this was standard, I would want a manual though, because it doesn't have that engaging driving experience like it does now. But because it's so fast, it lends itself perfectly to a DSG, and it's quite a weird sensation having your foot flat on the throttle and going up gears. So used to lifting off with a clutch, so it takes a bit of getting used to after driving manuals for the whole time I've been driving. For the money you can get one of these, also a lot of fun for the money, and you said it's spent about £2,000 to get it to where it is now, and you've done a lot of the work yourself.
Yeah.
And this is an absolute riot to drive. You have all the sensations, you have noise and you have feel, and I think that's all you need in a car to have fun. You don't need 700 million horsepower. You can have 330 brake horsepower, which I think in today's standards people like turn their nose up at, because like I think a lot of social media things, if your car's not 1,000 horsepower, it's slow.
Yeah.
330 brake horsepower in a car that weighs as little as this is absolutely rapid. This thing is so fast. It's intoxicating, the noise. A little bit on the interior, we have these amazing GTI seats. They come in all GTIs and they are extremely iconic. That's going way back to like the Mark I Golf GTI, Mark II Golf GTI. So that is an iconic piece of GTI history right there. We've also got a very important part of this car, DSG gearbox. If this car was standard, I'd want a manual, but because of the state of tune it's in now with a stage 2, it makes complete sense to have this because it makes the car so much faster. We have some nice carbon effect bits on the interior here, We've just got Apple CarPlay and all stuff like that, all the creature comforts that you expect in a modern day car. Steering wheel, really, really nice. It's the same steering wheel that we found in the Golf TCR. Nice size, nice thickness. You can get a nice grip on it and you can feel everything that's happening through the car with him. This is a Polo. This is not the lowest spec, because the up. It's one of the lower end of the cars for the VW range, but as you'd expect from a VAG group car, nice quality, no creaks, super comfortable. I definitely wouldn't be sad if I had to drive this around all the time.
How do you compare it against the ST?
Well, they're on paper they're a similar car.
Yeah.
From factory. Now that was a stage 2, so it's about 260. So this is quicker, like hands down. Also DSG, it's definitely faster. I'm really surprised by this. It doesn't have as good a chassis response as the ST. I will say that.
No.
ST felt nimble as anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could drive it like this and you'd have all the feel you needed. I am lacking a bit of feel through the steering. You can't get a real picture of what the car's doing all the time. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But in terms of quick, this thing's on a different planet. Like the response is good on the ST, but this thing's like, it almost feels NA.
Yeah.
With how responsive the turbo is. I'm really impressed with that. So this car is a lot of car for money. When you spend a bit of money, £2,000, it's not outlandish, but it's a good amount of money to spend on a car. Yeah, this level of performance, it really is something else. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video about, because it helps us out, and more people get to see it and your family members can enjoy our videos.